Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for some more Splinterlands content, and the newest legendary card drop has happened. The Carnage Titan is here, I've played with it, and now I've put together kind of a comprehensive list of cards I would recommend you try and pair with the Carnage Titan and play with certain cards. Now, the interesting aspect about the Carnage Titan is undoubtedly that he has reach, meaning that you can put him into that number 2 spot and he's going to be able to do a double strike. That is massive. Now, obviously, who would you like to have in front of Carnage Titan? Well, a big, beefy tank, but that's not always possible. Carnage Titan cost 11. He's very expensive. So, what I've done in this list is I've made sure that every single card I'm going to show you is cheap. It's going to cost 4 mana or less, and also it's going to be cheap to either rent or buy. Because, obviously most of the legendary cards would probably work great with Carnage Titan, but you're probably not going to be able to afford a lot of those cards. Now, the first thing I want you to understand about Carnage Titan is even once they get to the front, they're still a great tank. They have 7 shield, 8 health, and they're doing the double strike. And quite honestly, they're like a mini Grund. And I think Grund, Carnage Titan is going to be a combo you see a lot with that quadruple smash at the beginning. But we're not talking about Grund. He's expensive. He costs tens. Let's get into the different cards that you're going to see. Now, the first thing I need to mention is that they are a dragon. And that means there's going to be a lot of different cards that you could potentially combo with this card. So I've broken it down into some different subcategories. We're going to go through each one of them. So the first one is the mini tank. And one of my favorite ones, undoubtedly, is the Antoid Platoon. It's got the shield damage, because really, you just want 1 or 2 turns of this thing staying alive so that the Carnage Titan is going to get in a whole bunch of blows, and then when they position into the main tank, they're going to be able to hopefully finish off the middle part of their team. But the Antoid Platoon, great one. Also, the Cruel Sceptropod, once we go to water, only costing 3, but having that 3 shield and the 4 health right from level 1. Great card to combo with it. Continuing on, the Blinding Reflector, much in the same ilk, pretty much just for light. Now, moving on to Death. And Death is going to be an interesting one. I'm very curious to see how people play this card with Death. But I think one of your better mini-tanks that you're going to have in front is the Giant Scorpion, at least for Death. And that's going to give you the 2 shield and the 4 health, but that's at level 2. And as you can see, very cheap cards to rent. And honestly, the Giant Scorpion, I didn't have much success with it, but I did throw it in there. Moving on to green, we have the Biceratops. Just pretty much mini-tanks. You get the basic gist. Same with the Spineback Turtle, but once again, these might be cards that you might not have in your deck, and they're very cheap to rent. This is 0.10 DEC a day. You could rent that for 180 days for 18 DEC, dirt cheap, and they're great ones to have. But now we're moving on to one of my favorite categories and the things to put in front of them. That is the tanks with a twist. And so these are going to be mini tanks, but they have a little twist. The Crystal Werewolf reduces the magic attack of all enemy monsters. Very useful. And I know they're going to die right from the beginning, but still 5 health for a 3 cost, and they might even get an attack off. And if you put a shield on here, if you have some healers behind it, well, we'll talk more about that when we get there. But a card that I don't see played a lot, but very cheap to rent at 0.38 DEC a day. Check out the Crystal Werewolf for the light deck. I like it an awful lot. Continuing onward with the tanks with a twist, we have Cerberus, who is going to have the 2 attack damage at level 1, which is fantastic. Only 5 health, but they will heal themselves. Red, I will say, was the trickiest one for me to really get to work with this card. I personally had great success with white and green. I'm talking about with which ones I comboed with Carnage Titan, because that's part of the fun of playing Dragon Legendary cards, is you have so many different cards to combine with them. So continuing on, we also have the Zenith Month. This one's with an Asteroid, though. You need to have him at least level 2 so he can unlock his healing ability. Otherwise, I don't really think he's worth your time. At least with this particular one. Now we're moving on to some just the Meatshield Tanks. We got the Hill Giant, 3 cost, 6 health. Not bad. The Animated Corpse, 4 cost, 6 health. 2 damage, though, so this is not a bad one to put in front as well. And you can see 0.12 DEC a day to rent these. These are great little cards to have in your repertoire, especially once you start getting those weird odd even ones, or like they can only have this or that, or reverse speeds. So I just think these are great cards to rent as well, just to diversify your play style. Say, maybe I'll throw in this Animated Corpse, and you're like, wow, I really like this Animated Corpse. Who knows? We got the Battle Orca, same thing, 3 cost, but for 5 health, that's not a bad value, especially if you're getting that shield, if you decide to go the dragon with a shield. Now, the next category we have are tanks with the magic void armor. So they're going to be able to avoid a couple magic hits, which is always nice. This is Venari Heatsmith, which I think is a really underrated card. I don't see people use this much. I love the Venari Heatsmith, and I think it's a great one to pair with the Carnage Titan. Likewise, the Marrow's Ghost, only 3 cost. This one's, yeah, I haven't had much success with this card. But maybe you have a better combination. Maybe it's leveled up higher and it just makes a little bit more sense. Likewise, we have the Frost Lion, and these are just mini tanks, little tiny tanks with some void armor, which can help, hopefully, eat at least 2 hits. Continuing on, we have just the straight meat shields. These ones aren't going to attack, but the bottom line is they're cheap, and they might get you a turn, maybe 2, if you protect them with your Carnage Titan getting in double hits. So first we have the Kelp Initiate, a great card. It costs 2, it has 5 health, but more importantly, 5 speed. This sucker, there's so many times that this thing has stayed alive way longer than I was expecting it to, just because it was so fast and they kept missing it. Great little card. I'd recommend renting that one. I'm also making a video on renting some stuff in the near future, so that one might be in there as well. Next, we got Shadowy Presence. Same thing, only 1 cost, but with 4 health. Boy, howdy, that's just a great meat shield right there. Next, we have the Dragon Spirit. Now, this one's a little bit of a cheat. It's a little bit more on the expensive side because it is the purple. But at 1.38 DEC, I put it in here. This is a little bit of a cheat, but that one's great. 5 speed, 6 health at level 1. Great little dragon card to pair with it in the front. Continuing on, the Pelacor Conjurer, only 2 cost. It also has the flying, meaning it's more difficult to hit. You put a shield on this potentially. This thing could stay there a turn or 2 and really get you some good value. Next, we got the Failed Summoner. There's a reason that this card is used a lot. You see this a lot as you climb, and that's just because it's a rock solid card. If they happen to go magic, it's going to reflect back at them, and then you're getting your double punch in, and then it's just all good gravy from there. Riftwing, another one. I see this card quite frequently, especially when you get into poison matches and various different things like that. The big ability here is it has Scavenger, so it's going to be able to, every time something dies, it's going to get a little bit more health, and it flies. Now, this one's a little bit dicier, though. I didn't have good success with the Riftwing. I might do another video on just some different strategies that I was trying out with it. Baby Unicorn, a card that I do not see used very often. I absolutely adore this card in Light, and it just gives all friendly monsters +1 health. Now, you might not put this one in front necessarily, but maybe this is your backline thing, because this is going to make your mini tank that you have in front a little bit stronger, and it's going to make the Carnage Titan a little bit stronger. Baby Unicorn, 45 cents to go buy it. You can rent it for dirt cheap as well. For 45.45, and you get that at level 3. Just a dirt cheap card I don't see people use. Check out the Baby Unicorn. Don't sleep on it. Likewise, Truth Speaker. No, I don't need to say this. This is a starter card. It's just a no-brainer. If you happen to go white, you want your shield to stay up longer. Especially if you start trying, I love the Truth Speaker. I love any time you can build shields. Armor. Speaking of which, the Armor Smith, an absolutely delightful 2-cost card, because don't forget, he's got 7 armor. If you can keep the Armor Smith alive, especially if you combo him with the Scavo Hireling, who knows? But I think these are both rock-solid cards. Anytime you're going to be able to be repairing armor for under $4, I think that's a card you need to have in your deck. And I don't see the Armor Smith that much. Go throw it in there for 2 costs. You're going to use it. You'll use it. Next, we go to the healer category because it's kind of a no-brainer. We need to keep our mini tank healthy, and then once the Carnage Titan positions to spot 1, we need to keep him healthy as well. So we have our healers, the Venari Crystalsmith, which is a starter card, so we don't really need to talk too much about that. The Divine Healer, which is $1 less and 4 health, so it's got a little bit of beef there. One of my favorite personal cards, the Wood Nymph, with 4-cost heals, because we all know about the 6-cost healer in green. He's fantastic. He does magic damage. You see him all the time. But the Wood Nymph, I don't see nearly as often. But for low cost, if you're trying to save your pennies, because maybe you got like a 21, and you're like, all right, Carnage Titan, I got a mini tank in front, I got the Wood Nymph in back, and maybe I got a 0 in the way back, because, by the way, if you don't have a 0, you got to get the 0s. You got to rent those or buy those. Those things are absolutely worth their weight in gold. Anywho, Crustacean King, same deal. This one's got a shield, though. Yippee Skippy. Murdari Guardian, once again, you get it. We want to heal people. We want to heal our main tanks. Now, 2 more. Next, we got the Time Mage, which you see it all the time because it's a delightful card. It does the magic damage. It's quick, so sometimes it's difficult to hit because don't forget, you're at 4 speed and they're down 1 speed. Essentially, especially if you're going with the dragon, that gives you the shield because moving over here, I think a lot of people are going to have great success with the Drake or Arnak because your whole game is about keeping your tank alive and keeping him alive. And so, but honestly, it's a very fun card to use. I think you're going to see this one a very good deal. I think this one is going to be one that is played with a lot. The Carnage Titan. Hopefully that guide helped you out. Also, if you'd be interested in some more Splinterlands content, please let me know in the comments down below any ideas for different things I could do because I'm loving covering Splinterlands. It's a whole heck of a lot of fun. Also, if you're interested in joining my Splinterlands guild, it's a family-friendly guild. My 2 kids and I are in it. Please go check it out. It's Bowers Game Quarter. That's the name of the guild. We don't ask that you donate DCs. Just get your regulars or get your dailies on a pretty regular basis. Check out the link down below if you want to check out Splinterlands, by the way. And as always, if you enjoyed this content, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below as I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, celebrate my 10-year anniversary of making YouTube content. Bye-bye!